Hello. Okay, I did a post about it, like a written post, but I'm gonna dive into it kind of more. So, like, originally I went to Cloudcroft 4 times. I went to Bonito Lake once, and really the main reason for that was because I thought the dedication was to his dad, um, and I thought that, I mean, taking that kind of singular focus and focusing on the stories with his dad, I mean, I think you could naturally end up at Cloudcroft. Um, and honestly, like, I don't regret going there. Great barbecue, Mad Jack's very good, very very good. I went to Alamogordo. I went to the White Sands, even though I didn't think it was at the White Sands, but like you experience things that are like fun as well on these hunts. So I enjoyed my time there. It helped me kind of get into the mindset of boots on the ground. Much better to go there than it would be for me to have just like experienced boots on the ground for the first time in like Montana or something. It would have gone very badly. I'm sure of it. Even now, like there's little things that like the front bumper of my car pretty jacked up, and that's because I thought that there was a gravel road that I could clear. Um, I could not clear it, and so it's like the undercarriage thing. It just kind of like popped it, popped it out, and I didn't realize it for like 24 hours, and including like 4 hours into my drive back until I got to the first Love's travel stops to stop and get a Subway sandwich. But then I realized that when you're not driving like 90 miles an hour, when I was driving 90, no sound whatsoever. But when I was driving like 20, big sound. I'm like rolling down my windows. I'm like, what is that sound? And it was the undercarriage thing that had kind of flipped over and was just dragging, and it had pretty much eroded in certain areas where it was coming in contact with the ground. But yeah, no, big old mess. Luckily, I got some zip ties, and what is underneath my undercarriage now is pieced together again with zip ties, and it works very well. So like duct tape zip ties, it's the best. Anywho, now we're going to completely shift tones. The dedication. Uh, I don't think it's about his dad anymore. I don't think it's about his grandfather. I don't think it's about his brother. He grandparents pass away. Like for the most part, it appears that his grandparents passed away from old age. His grandfather, obviously, he wrote his own memoir, which might have been at Justin's urging, and he very well maybe helped him with certain elements of it, just considering how good he is from like a literary standpoint. I say that having no idea when his grandfather's book came out, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I seem to remember Justin saying something about encouraging him to do so, though. But so he loses his grandparents, which obviously is sad, but it wasn't necessarily unexpected, unless there's something I don't know. Apologies if there is. But he he loses his dad to brain cancer, which was a premature loss. Like he kind of describes his dad as still like being very active. Sorry, had to clock in, or I have keypad in. Anyway, he talks about his dad, and like he still seems like himself, uh, even though I want to talk to him a lot, but like or hear about him like a lot later in life. Like I didn't get the impression based on the stories that like things had fundamentally changed with like his zest for life, or passions or anything like that. And so for him to have died prematurely of brain cancer, and then for Brandon to have taken his own life, like those are traumatic things that you aren't necessarily prepared for in life. And I've got to imagine that that created a lot of like anger and probably frustration with God, like wondering why this happened to him, why not just him but to his family, like why they've experienced this loss. And I think that that naturally creates sharp edges, like in Freemasonry. And in general, I think that there's this concept of smoothing out like a rough rock. And so his dad, through just his parenting and all that, he's smoothing out the rough edges of a rock so it's a smooth, polished rock by ideally, if he's done his job right as a parent, hopefully he's smoothed out a lot of those rough edges. But when you lose people prematurely, I think that naturally creates anger, that naturally creates questioning, that naturally tests faith. That's a big one. Testing of faith. And I think that this connection that he established with Tucker, like, is it's like mythical describing, that like they understood each other on like such a profound level, and it was with him a lot of the time that he did hunts. They had like this routine of walking every day for very long distances of time, non what's the right word? Not optional. Like Tucker, he had like an internal motor. He said like non-negotiable. That's the word. 6 miles, no less. And so I think it's with Tucker that the sharper edges that he had developed through loss are getting smoothed out. Like he gets him to experience life again. Like he mentions in the Cable Conundrum, and then the one after that, like working at Microsoft, like made a lot of money, lots of signatures on patents and like technology advancements and accomplishments, and like he settled into a routine. But life begins where routine ends, and he got Tucker. He found out about the Forest Fen treasure hunt, and that allowed him to have like a lot more memories with his brother before what happened. And I think that after that loss, like he obviously kept going, but like he did not have the same kind of central figures that he had, but he had Tucker. And so I think that through Tucker, through their experiences, through their bond, those sharp edges began to heal. And I'm sure it's not perfect, but I I strongly believe that the dedication is for Tucker, and it's for essentially bringing him out of the darkness, and being his own beacon within that of life, I guess. I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's it. Thanks. Bye.